So hi, I'm Adrian. I'm here for Equinux, and I'm going to be telling you about our project that's, we hope you guys will want to work on with us. And so up on the slides, you see two devices, which I'm sure you're familiar with. On the left, we have a TV, and on the right, we have an iPhone, depending on which way you're looking at it. And so our project has to do with both of these platforms, with Apple TV or tvOS, and with iOS on the device side. So so this is where we're going. Before I dive into the project, let me just give you a few details about Equinux. So we make consumer software. So unlike most of the projects here, they tend to be internal apps or enterprise-focused apps, but we actually build things that people like you might use. So you can go to the App Store and download our stuff. And we've been doing this for many years, so we've been around 15 or so years, and focus primarily on the Mac and on the iOS platforms. And we've also won 2 Apple Design Awards doing this, so So we like consumer software, and we think we're pretty good at it as well. And we've also got quite a lot of experience doing the iPraktikum with Professor Brugge. So we've been participating for a number of years now, and I don't know, we've done all sorts of cool stuff. We've done hardware products, we've done software products, and we've taken the R's really seriously. Last year, we actually did the first project where we shipped something on the App Store. So the team, last year, they built an app, or 2 years ago, I should say. They built an app and actually shipped it on the App Store at the end of the project as well, which we're really happy about because it showed, not only is it a real product, but the quality level was up to our standards. So the team was able to build something that meets a real product's level. And they had a good time doing it as well, I think. Okay, so this year's project is going to be a little bit different. And first, to give you some background, this is a product that we already have. It's called TV Pro Mediathek. And it's an editorial TV content app. So what it allows you to do is to go to your Apple TV and surf through all the Mediathek content that is available out there today. We have an editorial team. They go through all the content that is out there. They pick the best stuff. And we also have something we call our social TV index, which uses a bunch of algorithms to pick the best, most relevant content and present it to the users in the TV Pro Mediathek app. And it's built using TVML. That's important. There are 2 ways to build stuff for Apple TV, native apps and TVML. And I'll explain why that's important in just a second. So we launched this last August, or last autumn, and it did really well. So over the holiday season, we're actually on the #1 slot on the tvOS App Store. And we also did pretty well in top grossing, which makes my boss happy as well. So that was quite cool. But, and here's the big but, there's a problem with tvOS as a platform. It's a cool platform, it's a really fun platform, but when you look at it in comparison to the iOS platform, it's tiny. So, I know lots of you here probably have an iPhone or an iPad. Fewer of you will have an Apple TV, and that's just because it's a newer platform. So of course, the solution is obvious. We should make TV Pro Mediathek for iPhone. Duh. But as I mentioned earlier, we built it using these technologies. So just to quickly run through them, there's a server-side technology called TVML that allows you to use a markup language to create views and UIs on the Apple TV. So you push TVML over to your tvOS app, and then you have your native app layer and the TVML engine, and then it shows you native UI. So it's quite cool because you can do lots of server-side development. So you can write a new view, push it out via a server, and that appears as a native view on the Apple TV. So it's quite cool. It allows you lots of flexibility. And especially for a media app, if there's the European Cup is coming up, if we want to add a new European Cup view to our app, we can do that no problem. We just, hack away, and then it gets pushed out to the application. So it's really cool from that point of view. And lots of Apple TV apps use this technology. About 80% of the apps on the Apple TV use TVML. So it's really cool. Oops. But it's only available for the Apple TV. So there's no TVML sort of equivalent for iOS. So this is a shame, we think, because it's this cool new technology that Apple has built for the Apple TV, not available on iOS. Yet. So this is what we see as the issue that you guys are going to be working on. And your mission will be to build TVML for iOS. So what we want is, TVML is a markup language. It's fairly standard stuff. We want you guys to build the engine that takes TVML and generates native iOS UI kits, user interfaces, based on that markup. So we need to basically go from this. So you have to work out a markup language that is designed to do TV-based interfaces, remote-based gestures, and it has to then convert it or translate it into something that can be powered by a UI kit-based iPhone application. So that's sort of the task that you'll be doing. And we think it's pretty exciting because the way TVML is designed by Apple, it's sort of, they spec'd it out quite neatly. So you have certain UI layers, you have button elements, you have alert views, all the sort of traditional user elements that you need to generate an application. Apple has predefined all these for Apple TV. None of this exists for the iOS platform. So what you guys would have to do is go ahead and sort of look at the views that you have on the Apple TV and come up with new user interface paradigms to make them work on the iPhone or on the iPad. So you're not creating an application, which is, I'm sure lots of you might have already tried your hand at writing an iOS application. It's fun to do, but it's fairly simple if you're writing just a basic application. You guys will actually be creating a new TVML interface engine for the iPhone and for the iPad. There will be some requirements. So you have to sort of figure out not just how it looks, how it feels, but it has to look really good. And it has to look really good and feel really good with a whole bunch of different UI designs as well, because depending on the application coming in, you'll have different requirements. So that's going to be the tough one, to find an abstract user interface that can work for all these different types of apps. And we want you to think a lot about the flows. So on the TV, it's natural to click through, scroll down, click through. It's sort of very linear. On an iPhone or an iPad, perhaps you want a completely different way of doing things. Pinch open to see the video, or swipe across, or there's tons of ways you could do it on iOS. So we want you guys to sort of go ahead and come up with a whole new way of designing these types of applications. And it's exciting because it's not just going to enable one application. That's what we're going to build. That's what we're going to demo with you guys. We're going to take TV Pro Mediatek for Apple TV and sort of work on bringing that to iOS. But the idea is that this engine can power a whole ecosystem of applications. So 80% of the apps on Apple TV are TVML. With this engine, they could all come to iOS. That's our idea, at least. So this is the Xcode project view. We wanted to make it simple to build TVML-based applications for the iPhone and for the iPad. So going back to our architecture diagram, you'll essentially be, let me go back one, be building something that will let you have a tvOS app and an iOS app generated from the same server-based data source. So just to briefly recap, the idea will be to work on the user interface and user experience side of things. So you have to come up with a new concept for designing the user interfaces. And it's going to be an app platform. So you won't be building just one app. You'll be building this engine that can power a whole range of different apps. So we think it's an exciting challenge, especially if there's some of you out there who've already worked on individual apps. This is sort of taking it to the next level. And we want you to come up with whole new user interface ideas. So we don't just want something that looks, pretty normal, sort of standard UI. We want something exciting, something fresh. So if you have cool user interface ideas, this is going to be a really cool project to try those out. And it'll be shipping a real product as well. So we think that's super important, and something that this practicum does so well is coming up with solutions for real problems that we can then also turn into real products. So you'll be able to put your name on something that is actually shipping on the App Store, which I think is something pretty cool as well. Oh, and one more thing. We also envision, as part of the TVML layout, that this will enable a whole bunch of different applications. And we'd also like to do something that we call TUM TV. It's the working code name. So you guys will be able to sort of work on a TVL interface to take all the videos and all the great content that is produced here by Professor Brugger and his team and integrate it into a view that you can then also use on your Apple TV, or later also on the iPhone or iPad application as well. So you guys will even get something that's quite useful after this as well. You'll be able to get all the lecture videos, and stay at home. Don't come to the lectures, just watch them on your Apple TV from bed. It's going to be super. So this is our project. We think it's something pretty cool, it's something different. We haven't tried it before, and we look forward to having you guys work on it with us as well. So thank you.